G'day guys, I just did a video on this topic, but it was too long. I'm still going to have the long stuff after this, but let's do the quick version. A man on the internet this morning asked, what does this stuff mean? See here, these are the pins of the ECU. Those ones, looking into the ECU. This here, that's the designation of the pin. Okay, so when you get like a pin out, which guys always want pinouts, but they don't know what the pinouts mean. VTA, voltage throttle assembly, voltage throttle assembly 2, voltage pedal assembly. The man was actually wanting to look at the pedal assembly and he's trying to test the throttle assembly. That's okay. Voltage pedal assembly 2. Good. This is the plug of the ECU that pin is found in. E3, which also happens to be B. That's correct. Pin 13. That one. Okay. And then you test it against the earth E2, which is found in E3, this is E3, this is E2, the plug, but the pin E2 is an earth. It's over here. Found in E3, pin 18. That one there. And it's going to be brown wire, which I find in the rest of the video. I could probably talk slower, but excited. So that's how it works. Okay, there's the conditions. There's the voltages. Really important to do this sort of stuff. If you know what you're doing, you can diagnose stuff instead of just guessing and using the parts cannon, which I see so often. Guys just parts cannon parts of their car and then go, hey, I've replaced all these parts and it still hasn't fixed it. Maybe testing's better. Good on Michael for testing this one. Hope that's helpful. If you want more information than me rambling on, there's more video after this. This was just a quickie. G'day guys. It's Galvin, Cartoon Company in New Zealand. So I was going through my normal morning routine. And I've just spent a couple of minutes just looking at Facebook and seeing what people are asking, and I shake my head at some of the questions. You've got to love a internet diagnosis. Often it says just replace every sensor if you look at the whole thread. But one person today actually put up something of value, and I think it's something that a lot of people don't have the balls to ask because they simply just don't understand it and move on. And that's a real disappointing, because this is a topic that if a lot of more people understood, they'd diagnose their cars better, because it actually shows how to diagnose things using basic stuff like a multimeter that most guys should know how to use. So if we're looking here, here's a particular page and it's got this sheet here and it's got a pin voltage chart for a GS400. It says there's two of them. There's 2 pin voltage charts. This is the first page. This is a USA car, and it's got this little picture here. It's got these little pictures here. Yep, and it's got this writing down here. And the question was actually asked. The question was asked. You see here, what does E2? I'll just move it up a little bit, eh? Just have a little. I'll actually ask the question because I think Michael will be okay. I've been talking to Michael via personal message, and I get a lot of people asking me questions, and a lot of them I simply don't have time to answer everyone. Okay, I've got to focus on my own work, my paying work, my customers. But let's have a look at this. Help trying to check the pin voltage for my accelerator pedal position sensor, APPS. Having a bit of trouble understanding what E3-18 is referring to. And don't you hate it when you read something out loud and then you realize that the train of thought's a little bit different? And I'm going to have to change a little couple of things because I've got some prep done. We'll go into that as we go. Is it pin group E2, pin 18, or group E3 pin 18 or something different? And that's a really good question. Now, just looking at the info here, you'll see here he's also written A and B. And that's because, see these pins, this is the ECU. Let's have a look. That's looking into the ECU. Now, I happen, like this, see, I happen to have one. Because it's really normal to have a GS 400 type ECU in your garage. This is actually a 171 crown, but it's the same plug, different pinout. But who's going to know? So this plug here, see this one at the bottom? That's that one there. Okay. Good. Good. And then each of these, so this is E7. Oh, go back to here. No, it's really hard to do this. Lucky I can use both hands pretty well. So this is, see this one here? That's E7. E7, good. Sometimes that's known as the F plug as well. So some diagrams, that's an F plug. And see, this starts to make sense why these ones down here are different. Okay. So E7, E6, E5, E4, E3, and E2. Okay? And you can see why there's a challenge here when it's got E2. Okay. Should we put on this one? Oh, I don't make much difference. Okay, so that's the plugs. Now, looking at them, here's the plug. Okay, it's looking at the back. So we're looking into the ECU. So if we look at this plug here, okay, if I turn it around, it goes like normal, like you're reading a book, from left to right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's looking at the this way. Here it is, this way into the plug. This way into the plug. It's pretty hard to see, but what it means is when you flip it around, as you can see here, it's looking into the back of the plug or looking into that ECU. Okay, and you'll see the numbers start at 1 over this side. So when you turn it around the other way, it's the other way, funny enough. Okay. Now, he did say you wanted to look at the APPS. I'm just going to flick out of there one because I happen to have a whole folder on GS 400 stuff. So I'm going to go here. Look at that. It's the same thing, isn't it? Okay. So here's our VTA. E3 13 to E2 E3 18. Now, we need to, I'm just going to look at the components of the throttle body. We'll look at the components of the throttle body. Here we go, see? This is what good information does. And we're going to cover, we've got a throttle body, and then it's got the little bits of the throttle body. We'll go down. Okay, look at that. So here's the main body of the throttle body. There's the accelerator position sensor, APPS. APPS, good. Water bypass, there's the throttle motor with clutch there, a wave washer, connector bracket, that's really important to have that on there. And then we've got the throttle position sensor. Now, you'll notice back in the information we had, sorry, I'm going to go back over here very quickly. VTA and VPA. Now you can call that voltage position assembly, or variable position assembly, some people call it. Voltage throttle assembly, or variable throttle assembly. Voltage throttle assembly, that's 2, and there's 1A. If I just scroll this down a little bit, look. VPA 2. VPA, VTA, VTA 2 and VTA. Okay, so looking at this, we've got accelerator position sensor, APPS, and the throttle sensor. Going back to that original question, he did say he was wanting to check the APPS. Now, this is a 1UZ VVTI throttle body. So the APPS, accelerator position sensor, is located on the throttle body itself. Okay, so we're going to go here again. So what do these mean? So voltage throttle assembly, that's the name of the pin. It's located in E3, pin 13. Pin 13. And of course they have a redundancy system, so they have a second one, which is a VTA2. That's found in E3, pin 20. So this is where he's got the confusion, but if you understand this, you can understand that. This is the designation of the pin. This is the designation of the pin. This is the plug that the pin is found in. This is the plug the pin is found in. And this is the pin number. So what is this E2? What is E2? And it's tricky because you see there's a plug E2 and then this designation pin E2. So if we just go through here, that's the installation of the throttle body. This is the on-vehicle inspection of the throttle body. Now, if you go through all that, here's the replacement of parts, but here is an overall pin diagram. Okay, and this is, I hate to think how many pages actually. No, it's only 51. Sometimes I have them a couple of hundred. Engine control, engine immobilizer system, 1UZ FE. This is for a GS 400. See, GS 499. And we're looking in these areas here. So this piece here is the ECU body. If I go out, see, there's the end of the ECU. It continues onto another page, but that's the ECU body there. And we're going to bring it out, and we're going to bring it down a little bit. We're going to get, oh, come on, here we go. Okay, can we get it a bit bigger? Okay. So look at the information contained in here, and if you understand this stuff, it makes your life way easier for diagnosing. It is kind of breakfast time. I'm about to go spray some weeds, so oh, we don't want to go there. Okay, so what we got? This is the name for this little box, throttle position sensor, and it actually shows what's going on inside the box. There's a variable resistor, and you see this runs along that variable resistor. We've got the pins of the sensor, pin 1, 2, 3, 4. Same deal when you're looking at the back of that sensor or looking into the sensor. Right is going to be pin 1. Second one from the right, pin 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Then it's got some colors. Look, a brown. Brown goes to pin 3. And you'll see here, this is like a junction plug. Okay, so that's a joiner. And it goes along, brown, 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 brown. And see E2 goes to pin 1 of the coolant sensor. It goes to pin 2 of the airflow, mass airflow meter. Goes to the accelerator position sensor, and then it heads off here through another joiner to the vapor pressure sensor. And you'll see here it comes down here to the ECU becomes E2. Plug B. See, we've changed it again. Oh, see, this one doesn't have those E2, E3, E4, A5, A6 stuff. This one's labeled A, B, C. And just for fun, different ECUs will be labeled in different ways. Okay, so a B plug on a GS 400 might be different to a B plug on some other vehicle. Okay, so don't get caught out there. One of the things I do to find that and to identify them is to actually pick up my multimeter and take some known positions. For example, I might go, here's my mass airflow meter. There's VG. Does it go to B10? And then I know that that's where it is. Because it is very easy when you're working between different ones. And different information that is put on the internet doesn't make it easier. Actually referring to proper Toyota manuals is the right information. But even then, sometimes they don't always work properly, because if you get like a Haynes copy of a Toyota one, again it's not proper Toyota, but that will make things tricky. But you will see here, look, if we go over here, look, we've actually got this information labeled here. Look at this. E2 is A, E3 is B, E4 is C, E5 is D, E6 is E, and E7 is F. So the information's there if you know how to use it. So going back to here, so we've got brown, and that is E2. It's an earth. This is actually an earth too. See, E2G. That's your airflow meter earth. If we just go a little bit bigger, please be some earths in here. Oh, E1. Look, there's an E1. Earth 1. That's going to be comes down here. Look, it's brown as well. Goes along here. It's oxygen sensors. And look, right hand back of the cylinder head. So E's are earths. I wonder if I go down a page. I haven't. Engine control module. See, again, it's got, there's your designations. Just turn your head sideways, guys. Just turn the TV sideways. There's your igniters. Oh, here we go. EOM, EC, they're in the fender. EO1, EO2, EO3, right hand back of cylinder head. So there's all your earths. Now, this earth though, however, getting bigger again. This earth is a special earth. It's the sensor earth from the ECU. It only goes to the sensors. And so if you had a fault, for example, with the air temp, your coolant sensor, and both your throttle position and your accelerator position sensor, you could assuming is bad. You could surmise that there's a possibility that E2, theorize, that's a scientific word, isn't it? So you theorize that E2 could be the fault, or there could be a break in that wire, and I do see that. So there's our E2. Then we've got the voltage to the TPS. We've got colors, a red, blue, and you've got your color, and there will be a color chart if you're not understanding. There's some funny ones. Blue. Oh, sorry, I said red, blue. It's red, black. L is blue. So that's blue, black, and blue, yellow. And VC. VC is your 5-volt supply, and you'll see again 5-volt comes up. Now there is a proper test technique. There it is. Inspecting the throttle body. Remove the V-bank cover. V-bank. Get out your scan tool and look at this. Here it is, and it's showing. If you have no Lexus handhold tester, measure voltage between terminals VPA and E2 of the ECM connector. And you see it's got the little multimeter in there, and he's popping into the E2 pin, which is the earth, and VPA. And it says, check your idle speed. And now, idle speed. Oh, yeah. Again, I saw a post the other day. A guy was saying he was idling, his car idled around about 800, and he cleaned the throttle body. It was idling at 1,000, and now it's at 800. My suggestion was, what's the factory idle speed specification for that vehicle? And funnily enough, it was a 1UZ PVTI. Look, 750 plus or minus 50. There's a lot of people looking for faults that aren't faults because they don't know what the factory spec is. And a lot of people would benefit from reading this boring ass shit and going through this, because there are times that even I learn stuff. And hey, it's great for me to do a revision. So, VPA. So that one is what he actually wants to look at. VPA is not the throttle position sensor. Okay, that is the accelerator position sensor. VTA is the throttle position sensor. So going back to here and going back to the original question, he wants to measure the APPS. He actually wants to measure VPA and VPA2, which are in plugs E3. Oh, going back up. E3 and 21. VPA2 is E39, E39, and E2 is an E318. It's going to be a little brown wire. When you're measuring this stuff too, and if we look at the this one on vehicle inspection, if we go down, inspect the throttle motor, it gives some resistances, it gives some clutch resistances, it does the throttle position sensor. Does this one actually show doing the 5 volt as well? No, it doesn't. So I highly recommend checking the 5 volt as well. Was in another one of the ones that I read, there was a 5 volt. I would always check the 5 volt on the grounds as well. When you know where grounds go, like we know it goes to the airflow meter, the mass airflow meter, you can check them there. You can check your ground there. These ones are a 12 volt to the airflow meter, so that doesn't help you for 5 volt. 5 volt is, so again, you know which sensors, APS and TPS. It also actually shows the little lead coming off, so it shows where you can test them under the bonnet on some of this sort of stuff as well. Have we got it? Have we got it in here? Oh, look, there we go. See, look. Oh, yeah, no. This one, see, there's a little extension, and it shows where pins are for checking stuff, which can be really helpful as well. And there's under the engine bay, again, checking where those pins are. Maybe I should do a brief on this, on how it all works. We'll see if I put a brief. If I put a really fast one at the start, it's because I just thought about it right at the end. So I hope that's been a little bit helpful. There is more information on here, of course, which we should do. The conditions that you tested under: ignition switch on, accelerator position released, and then accelerator position depressed. And it's ignition on, engine off. And there's the expected voltages that we'd expect. The expected voltage we'd expect. The voltages we would expect to see. Okay, so it's got that as well. This is great for diagnosing, and fantastic that the person's asked this question, because it's really important to know this stuff. It's the stuff that, well, I worked at a diagnostic shop. The cartoon company was a diagnostic shop, and we did tune-ups. And I spent a long time changing spark plugs, and that was the biggest thing we did. We changed spark plugs because mechanics had forgotten, and they'd gone off on different tracks and forgotten about the basics. So that's trained my mind to really think of the basics first. So when you've got problems with your cars, check the basics. and then move into this sort of stuff. And this stuff to me is still pretty basic. Of course, you can do it with a scan tool. It does go with a scan tool, but if you don't have it, then a multimeter is going to do a lot of the stuff that a scan tool does. So I hope that's been helpful. I'm off to spray some weeds, do some other stuff, and we'll talk to you again soon. We'll catch you later.